everybody. Welcome to Truth Wins Seriously. We are back again. You guys are the most fabulous audience. If you want to get a hold of us here at Truth Wins Seriously, you go to Val Howe, VALHOWE. Some people call it Howie, but it's not. It's at Val Howe, VALHOWE at .com, valhow.com, and you can get a hold of us there and we'll get your emails. And here's the thing, I want you to be commenting if you would. That would really help us out because the last viewership that we've seen was up to over 12,000 viewers. You guys are amazing. We are thrilled to death, and I really believe that God wins seriously, or I wouldn't be doing this. But this is what's so funny. Here lately, I've been having people come to me and say, oh, I watched the podcast, and I get so excited about that because it's like, and you know what, it sounds like I'm bragging. It's not. I always go, I know, isn't it amazing? Because these people that I'm having on have gone through serious difficulties, and it's inspiring me. Like, it's just been crazy, and we're all hurting in some way. But truth really does win, and he has a name, and his name is Jesus. So I have Karen Neasby with me today, which you have to understand, Karen is almost my right arm, okay? So you will, when we get to this, we'll be telling you what's going on. But I think she might know my children better than I do. And that's because they probably tell her secrets that I don't know. So, and which is just as good with me if they feel they can tell her that. I'm all right with that. So let's pray real quick before we start. Lord, we thank you for the relationship that Karen and I have. We thank you for the relationship that we have with you. We thank you that you have brought us through trials, through struggles, and that you will continue to do so. That we are relying on you. And we know that you're the way, the truth, and the life. And so it will happen that truth will win. It may be eventually, it may not even be in our lifetime, maybe. But we're just holding on to hope. And we just thank you for the time that we can share, that other people might be uplifted by what we're saying, that Jesus, they will come to know that you died and you rose again so that they could live forever if they just turn from their sin. And that doesn't exclude us from suffering, but we know that in the end we win. So we thank you for that. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right. Now, Karen, let me tell you about Karen Neasby. It's kind of hard for me to call her Karen Neasby because I've always mainly known her as Karen Simpson, but more than that, I've known her as Care. And so that's what my kids have always called her. I'm not sure they still don't. Not sure about that. They're between 31 and 40 now, so maybe not, but I don't know. They might secretly. But Karen is here because of several experiences, really. And I just want you explain how you and I connected earlier in life.
Well, Valerie, you and I connected early in life because I babysat all 5 of the Howe kids. It was my first real job.
Yeah, real job.
As a 14, 15 year old. And I started keeping your oldest daughter, Megan, when she was 6 weeks old. And then I kept all 5 of them as they grew up on and off. Even when I went away to college, I would come back and try to help out where I could. So love those Howe kids, love the whole entire Howe family. So I feel like I'm a part of the Howe family.
Yeah, she is. And we went on some trips like to England and Israel. Sometimes my kids were throwing up and having amazing difficulties. And she helped make vegetable people. And one of them fell off at the way to the library where they were supposed to be having the contest, things like that. But you know what? Here's the thing. Okay, Karen, I remember somebody saying to you, and we won't name names, Jeff Brown, that he said that was the easiest. I love it because Jeff loves me. Mwah, I love you.
Exactly.
But he said, well, Karen, this has got to be the easiest job. Remember? Didn't he say something to that
I do
effect?
remember something similar to that.
Yeah.
And I think he realized that it indeed is not the case.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. He's come to know.
He's come to know the error of his ways.
But Karen often started supper. Now I'm talking like even after college, and then she abandoned ship on me and went and worked with Dino Carcinakis. So
I left for Branson, and I spent the first portion of my career with Dino in Branson, Missouri, at multiple theaters, and then ended up. Before I left Branson, I was at the Grand Palace, and the Howe kids would come and visit me, and I remember very plainly they would want to bring their suitcases in to the Grand Palace because they thought I lived at the Grand Palace, which is I did theoretically.
Yeah, a lot of the time.
A lot of times, but they thought it was really the most fantastic place to come visit me at when I was at the Grand Palace because I lived there.
There you go. I mean, the only thing Karen really didn't do was sleep with us, but she did, on our premises, but she did sleep at the Howe household several times. So it's,
for extended periods of time.
Exactly. So here we go. So now that kind of tells you about us. So I've known Karen for, if that's right, Megan's 40. So I hope she doesn't mind me saying it. But the thing I'm saying is, so we've known each other. And then we went to the same church for a long time, too.
We did. That's where we really found a love for each other and the Lord and spent so much time together.
Yeah. And I really, if you want to know the truth, Karen, sometimes when I was raising 5 kids, I thought Karen's my very best friend in the world. If I have to pay her to be my best friend, I don't care.
We did it.
Yeah, that's it. But she was amazing. So, okay, so we've talked about you. Then you went to Branson. You went to, now you're at Mercy.
I have been the executive director of Mercy Health Foundation at Mercy Hospital here in Lebanon. I just celebrated my 21st anniversary.
Oh, my goodness.
So I've been home for 21 years.
21 years.
Your husband, Kenny, started out as the founding chair of Mercy Health Foundation. I've had some other chairs down through time. And now Taylor has taken the baton, and Taylor is the chair of Mercy Health Foundation.
Taylor Howe.
Exactly.
Yeah. So now it's like gone from father to son for 21 years. Can you believe it? That's crazy.
Fantastic.
Okay. In the middle of this, she had a lot of changes and dynamics happen in her life. That was job situations.
Absolutely.
But tell us just give us some dynamics of your life, all the things that have happened in between.
In the midst of coming home, unbeknownst to me, one of my volunteers introduced me at church to her son. And she takes full credit, this lady is now my mother-in-law, for me finding the perfect husband for me. And Val will tell you, I never settled. I waited 45 years to get married. And God found and had the exact person in mind right for me that was the son of one of my wonderful volunteers at Mercy Hospital, Lebanon.
Yeah. How long have you been married now, too?
13 years.
13 years. So honest to Pete, I can't imagine Karen being any happier than she's been. Is that true?
That is exactly the truth.
Yeah.
We enjoy traveling. 5 years ago, we decided it's going to be a great idea to become farmers. And I'd never touched a cow until 5 years ago. So the Howe kids all think it's hilarious that I give shots to cows and walk around in farm boots. So
right, exactly.
That's just not what you
nobody
think.
thought Karen was going to do that. From Dino Carcinakis to cows, right?
I know, it's fine.
Who knows? Hey, listen, you never know where God is going to take you.
You never know. We can all do hard things, but it's all good.
Right. And in the middle of this, she had Randy, but she also found out that she had some health issues.
I did. In 2019, I was diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer. healthcare professionals, sometimes we're not exactly the best in keeping track of all the testing, going to the doctor, things we need to do. That's not the case for me. I'm a very compliant patient.
Right.
And because I'm just a rule follower by nature. And I stay on time, on budget, keep the list going, stay organized. And I went in for my routine mammogram, and I just kind of felt that day that just by the expressions of people on their faces, that something was just off with everybody in mammography. And it wasn't too long after that they called and said, we need to have you come in for a biopsy. And come to find out, it was triple negative. Now, we're seeing a lot more reports in the news on what triple negative breast cancer is. It is the most aggressive form of breast cancer.
Okay.
It's the hardest one to treat because of the regimen that they use. So I went through about 6 months of chemotherapy. And then after the chemotherapy, I had a brief break. And then I did about a month and a couple of weeks of radiation. So it's the likelihood of reoccurrence is very great with triple negative. And
I didn't know.
yeah. So they want you to get past that 5-year mark, and then the chances of reoccurrence reduces to 75%.
Oh, wow, but that's still...
So I just celebrated my 6th year on the other side of diagnoses.
Okay.
Now, that doesn't mean that we haven't had a whole lot of roller coaster rides throughout the last 6 years. So I stay very current with my mammograms. I'm also in a high-risk program at Mercy where they follow me very closely. I have breast MRIs every 6 months, and then on the opposite 6th month, I have my diagnostic mammos. I feel very blessed to be in this program where I'm monitored so closely. I kind of feel like I'm under house arrest when it comes to breast cancer.
Yeah. Well, and she knows everybody down there in the Mercy system because of your job.
Because I've worked there a really long time.
Yeah. And so, like, if they all look like, oh, no, Karen, we got to do something different, then that had to feel like, oh, my goodness, right?
Exactly. But, over the last 21 years, I never would have guessed when I was diagnosed in 2019 that I was going to have the opportunity to be a patient at the Curry Cancer Center, because I've raised millions of dollars for cancer care.
Wow, yeah.
And I never, it was for everybody else.
Yeah.
My mom's a two-time cancer survivor. She only had to do radiation one time. But I'm doing this for our community. It wasn't for me. I was never going to be a patient.
Yeah. Who thought it was you?
That wasn't my plan, but it was God's plan for me to take this journey. And I'm so thankful He did, because it opened my eyes wide to the number of people in Lebanon, Missouri that are journeying through health concerns.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be cancer. It can be anything, but they're going through it completely alone. When I was going through chemo, I was completely, it just knocked my socks off to see people that you knew full well that were at chemo that day, Val, that were completely alone.
Yeah.
And my mom said to me when I first started, she said, I think that you're going to be there for a purpose. There's going to be people at chemo that are going to not have anybody. And you need to make it your goal every time you go in to smile at somebody. If that's all you can share with them is a smile, they may not feel comfortable talking to you. But if all you can do is smile at them and say good morning, that may be the only smile and good morning that they get that day.
Yeah.
So I set out to do that.
So that was kind of your mode of operandi. Because here's the deal. My kids call Connie Mima. Mima will tell you, and probably it'd be a good idea to do what she said, don't you think?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was helpful.
It was helpful.
Yeah, because you focus on something besides just that.
And
right?
that's what I found. I wasn't caught in my own little, I don't want to call it a pity party, but I wasn't nervous. I found myself not being nervous, not being scared.
Right.
Because I was trying to be encouraging of others. And then I also tried to look for the gratitude. That was Randy's challenge for me. And he would come every time. And I took a drug called the Red Devil. And it looks like everybody remembers the red Kool-Aid we all drank as a child. And it looks exactly like that. We all hate cancer, but we all hate chemo. But he wanted to stay right by my side until that drug was pushed through. And we talked about it a lot, and it was very, very hard. The Red Devil was very, very hard. Yeah. But he wanted to stand there, and he would hold my hand or rub my foot until the nurse got that administered. And then he was off to Sonic to get my drink whatever, and come right back. But we paused at those moments, and man, we have to be thankful for the incredibly smart doctors that have the knowledge on how to treat us. We have to be incredibly thankful for the scientists that come up with these really hard chemotherapy drugs.
And cures.
Yes, yeah. That fight the cancer. So when the pharmacy techs would bring it in, I just say, thank you, God, for my chemo today. We're kicking cancer to the curb. I'm so thankful for the tech that was able to mix this today and the pharmacists. And we're kicking cancer to the curb. So
good.
100% of anybody's cancer journey, it's so important to have a positive mindset. And
you did, for sure.
You can only find that with the Lord and incredible husbands, incredible families that are behind you, incredible friends that are behind you 100%. So that's really kind of what that looked like. We had a brief break after chemo. Then I went into radiation. And we did radiation every day, 5 days a week, where I had to drive to Springfield. We don't do radiation at Mercy, Lebanon.
You lost your hair someplace in here, right?
I did. Yeah, I did lose my hair. For those of you that may be listening and might know me, my hair has always been a big
deal.
It's a big deal. Yeah. The bigger the hair, the closer to Jesus.
That's kind of
so, I thought I was going to be tough because that's just who I am. And I was going to do cancer I was just going to wear the little hats and nobody was going to notice.
Right.
Well, the more and more that I tried to just wear the little hats, the more I found myself being a recluse and hiding in my office at the hospital, coming into church late, leaving early because I had the little hats on. And my husband had the brilliant idea that day we were going to put me in the truck and he was going to drive me to the nice wig shop in Springfield. And he handed me the credit card and said, don't come out until you find the wig of your dreams. And that's where my outlook and my pep in my step came back.
Because it was great.
Nobody knew.
No.
Nobody knew I was going through cancer because I was back with a vengeance.
Yes, true.
I had my hair back. And
it looked right. Like it
looked like
right.
me.
Yeah, yeah. That's a big deal too because they do have that place.
We do have that. Yeah. And at the Curry Cancer Center, I want to share with your listeners because I think there's people out there that are listening today that may be going through cancer treatment and maybe they don't have their hair. And that's very difficult. But I want you to call the hospital and ask for Karen at Mercy Health Foundation. We have a wig boutique at the hospital now, and we offer free wigs to women. Yeah. And it doesn't matter whether you're at Mercy, Cox, Lake Regional, MD Anderson, any Mayo, we will get you in a free wig and all of the supplies to take care of the wig. And if a wig's not your thing, we also have hats and things like that to choose from. But please call me because it sure was a game changer for my heart on my journey. But losing my hair, it was very, very difficult.
That was a hard one for you.
Yeah.
So tell me something. Okay, so let's just take this also about feelings. Now you have to understand, Karen probably wasn't going to talk about herself this much because I know her. And so what I'm saying is now was the wig program born out of this too, or did you have it a little bit?
We had a little wig program.
Yeah.
But after me being thrust into cancer the way I was, we turned the heat up on the wig program, and it's bigger than it's ever been.
Yeah. See, and even that God used it because it really, hair is a big deal. And I don't think you're alone in that. I think a lot of women, it's terrifying to think you're going to lose your hair because it's a big deal.
What is it they say? It's your crowning glory as
It
a
is,
woman.
yeah. And the Bible actually says that, right? Yeah. Karen looked a lot like her dad for a minute. She really did.
And actually, my husband came home one day, and I had my hat off and my wig off, and he goes, "Well, hello, Eddie." And when my dad was a young man and was 11 in high school, people called him Eddie, and that's a very nice compliment.
Yes, her dad was a wonderful person, but he didn't have hair.
He didn't have hair.
No, he did not have hair.
It was a great look for Dad. It was not a good look for me.
Yeah, Karen's like, well, hey, I don't mind looking like Dad, except for I want some hair, right?
Yeah,
there you
exactly.
Go. So when they first told you, though, I mean, like, what did you do? Who was with you? Like, what happened?
You know, this is crazy because I was so convinced that everything was going to be okay. I just said, let me just run up. I'll meet with the oncologist. Everything's going to be okay. And
so you're by yourself?
I was by myself that time.
Wow.
Because I was so convinced that everything was going to be okay. So don't.
Because you're so positive. She has got a positive attitude, but it's like, can't happen to me sort of thing almost, right?
I was convinced. And you know what? And then I thought driving, if it is bad news, it is what it is. And the Lord's going to carry me through it. And I'm going to get right back home again. And we'll talk about it and figure it out. But I happened that very day, I happened to be by myself. But I think that probably was for a reason. And it gave me the opportunity to process all the way home, because then I had lots of people that love me a lot that I had to chat with.
Right.
And I was ready. And
so were you telling them on the way home or just processing?
I was processing all the way home.
Yeah.
And then it came time to visit with Mom. It came time to visit with, dig a little bit deeper with Randy on what was about to happen. And so we could very calmly approach it, rather than be in a complete downward spiral.
Yeah.
Like the sky was falling.
Yeah.
But like you said, Val, that's not the person I am.
Right. This is about me this time, and I don't know what to do about that. Yeah.
Exactly.
I can imagine that. So, but I mean, was this tears? Was this terror? Like what would you say?
Some tears and terror, because when you read the statistics and if you've received a cancer diagnosis and you're walking this journey, I would encourage you to not lean on Dr. Google and spend so much time looking at the internet and reading the statistics. Just because you read it on the internet doesn't mean it's true, and it doesn't mean it's going to happen to you. So I immediately started reading about it, and I immediately found myself in a feeling of doubt that this was probably going to be the end, and I was never going to make it because of what was about to happen, and cancer was going to come back and metastasize. And so, don't let that doubt fill your head because you've stayed too much time on Dr. Google. It's not a good thing. But we started getting a plan, and that helped me so much
Yeah. Well, and that's your nature too. We got to have a plan.
We got to have a plan. We got to get organized. That's my phrase that pays. But we met with the oncologist. We met with the radiation oncologist. We got the plan. But what really has struck me, and a big takeaway for me out of this entire journey, has been the comfort of cancer care close to home. And it's such a blessing.
Not to have to go to Springfield.
To not have to go to Springfield, not have to go to St. Louis, not have to go to Kansas City. You can find world-class cancer care close to home.
Yeah. And you knew it, but you just didn't think it was going to have to be for you.
I wasn't going to be a patient there.
And then Stephen Strauss was going through this about that time, right?
Yeah, he was.
So for you guys who don't know Stephen, his story was remarkable, and he did live a lot longer than they thought. But he's not with us, but he had a great attitude. He always said, "Be still and know that I'm God," and he was with that. But I thought, Karen, you went the same time he did.
Yes,
the summit treatment.
Stephen and I sat in treatment quite a bit. I also had the opportunity to sit with Dr. Dennis Height. He was going through treatment quite a bit during through this time, and he said, you know, Karen, spiritual healing is just as important as physical healing. So I hope that our time here, we can also work on spiritual healing.
Oh, wow.
At the same time.
That was pretty cool because he would have been close to being your dad's age. I mean, and he practiced medicine for 50 years, and then it's him this time.
It's him being the patient. And, and he's kind of like me. He's not the best patient in the world, but that's it. We still love him.
Well, and he was helpful. That was helpful because when you're sitting there going through it, there's a minister, a doctor. This is all walks of life can go through this.
And other dear friends from across the community. But I really realized that I had to work even harder to make sure that we continued to make cancer services close to home available. Because not everybody has a Randy Neasby to drive them to chemo or come and sit with them.
Go get their Sonic drink.
To get their Sonic drink. There's people that have to find their way all by themselves to come over and sit by themselves and then make their way back home when they're not feeling good. And that's just across town.
But radiation,
you do have to go to Springfield.
Okay.
And I drove a good portion of that. I felt well enough to drive some of the days by myself.
Oh, that's good.
But as you all, those of you that know me, know that my mother and Randy and some other loved ones were determined for me not to do that every day by myself.
Yeah.
Because I was very exhausted by that point.
Yeah. And that's when you lost your hair during that period, right?
I lost my hair during chemo.
Oh, chemo. I just wasn't sure which one.
Within 13 days, my hair was gone.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And you probably try to prepare yourself for that, I suppose. But, you know, that's pretty tough.
I threw a bottle of hairspray right before it turned loose because I was just trying to hang on to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a little bit longer.
So I'm sorry, we were going back to that, but I just am like, okay, so I was just trying to get a timeline there so we're chemo, get the wig, do radiation. Now you're done. Now what happens?
We cross the finish line, and now we stay in the high-risk breast program. You stay current with the breast MRIs. You stay current with your mammograms. You stay current with self-exams, and see those doctors when you need to see them to stay current. I also take an oral treatment, and then I'll take for the next 5 years. That decreases the chances of the return of cancer as well.
That's great.
So that's a blessing. So, I mean, I've got the full armor on to ward off the return of cancer, and we're doing all the testing on time, just as asked, to stay ahead of things.
And so, okay. Now, because we've talked about your mindset, how you beat it, and all the things. So, like, what do you do to like, okay, if those little doubting voices come in and say, hey, you know what, Karen, you might get it back. Tell me how you handle that.
You know, somebody just asked me that the other day. And I'll answer it this way. Scanxiety is real. And that's a word that you hear a lot with girls that have had cancer or been through cancer. When it comes time to go for your mammo or go for testing, you do have anxiety related to those scans. And I have a favorite verse that was my cancer verse, Exodus 14:14, that says, just stay calm, the Lord will fight for you.
I love it.
That's my paraphrase. That's Exodus 14:14 according to Karen. So I tried to find that calmness and know that I need to stay calm because he's already out ahead of me and is fighting the battle. So I need to stay calm.
Yeah. And it's a great verse because it's where Moses is standing there. The people are complaining and griping. The Egyptians are coming toward him, and they're at the Red Sea.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah, it's huge. And they're like, we should have left us in Egypt. We're all going to die here, and they're going to throw us into the sea or whatever they're going to do. And if you know anything about the Exodus story, this is literally, I've heard some people say the translation is Moses is trying to calm the people down, and God is like, shut up and turn around and put your rod up. Because they couldn't imagine him parting the Red Sea. That just didn't occur to anybody because it never happened. I mean, you know what I mean?
Right.
So what I'm saying is, though, he's saying, Moses, I don't know why you're standing there listening to them fuss and you're not just asking me what to do. And so then, of course, he turned around and put up his rod, and there went the sea. So that's why it's such an amazing verse. Stay calm and see what the hand of the Lord will do. And this is when I asked Karen to do this. I said, Karen, you want to be on my podcast? Which I don't know whether Karen really wanted to be on my podcast or not, because she doesn't like to talk about herself too much. And I said,
not really.
But I want them to know that you can kick this.
You can do it.
You can do it. And she said, I kick cancer's butt. And I'm like, personally, I'm so glad you kicked cancer's butt. And I'm so glad that you wanted to come do this, because I really believe if you need, she's not kidding, call her at Mercy if you're going through something.
I want you to call me.
Right. It doesn't even have to be cancer. It could be like brain aneurysm, something like that. She can't heal it, but she can help you be able to navigate it with the right attitude.
Absolutely. I've had the opportunity to do Buddy Check 3 on KY3. I've done multiple interviews, and that was the other thing, Val, that Randy and I prayed about this, that when the diagnosis happened, we both agreed that we were going to give my story over to him, that we would use my story for his glory, and that I would look for any opportunity that I could. Didn't have to just be breast cancer, but anybody walking through cancer, that I wanted to be, hopefully, be a light and share the goodness of God to folks that may not see that journey as being so bright.
Right. And who knew that that was what it was for? Like at the time, like, okay, we gotta, because what's worse than going through something is not to be able to use it for something. I mean, like, because you don't know how that's going to work. But that is an amazing attitude right there. So we've got to close this out.
We could be here all afternoon.
That's right. We could.
You and I.
That's right. We could. But I want to say, I love that. What did you say? His story.
My story for his glory.
My story for his glory. Listen, that is a great thing to end with on Truth Wins Seriously. You can use your story too. We're all hurting somehow. We're all suffering somehow. I've heard if you're not going through something right now, you will be at some point. So, or you've just gone through something, because life is like that. But you know what? God is bigger than that. And truth does win. And it doesn't always work out that you're healed, but it still wins, because you can go through it with courage and strength. And that does not mean without tears or scared. It doesn't mean that. Mm-mm. Because the only way you can have courage is if you are scared. So
exactly.
Let's say that one more time.
We're going to use, I wanted to use my story for his glory.
See you next time on Truth Wins Seriously.